The Depth to Delve Deep by Rote Writer. Chapter 44. Northern Ireland. History. The helm of the old hold helps him as he steps off the bus on his way along a walkway winding around the River Erne. It twists, then turns to encompass the eminence of Enniskillen Castle, a fortress still filled with fusiliers, fondly remembered by a few as the former stronghold of the Maguires. Now and for some time a British subject, brandished with bravado and blowing in the wind, is a flauntingly and hauntingly heist from the past. Aghast what he sees from one of its ramparts with red glare, King George's red-crossed white flag is still flogging Northern Ireland. Rope carries on to the castle itself. It's illuminated by situated spotlights. Now in full view, brought to life from a picture he's seen not so long ago on the internet. Rote walks along the path that pats the riverside stroll. He stops at the small dock, just a rock throw's distance away from the castle. He sees Castle Island. It's a tiny island, no larger than a pond, floating like a lily pad directly across from where he stands. It holds a ranch-style wooden frame hostel. It's the one he's looking for. It has a wonderful clear view of the Maguire Castle's two towers. The two towers, along with the ramparts and the rest of the building in the castle compound, are constructed after centuries of brattices are built as breastworks during battles. They're erected on earthen ringed mounds around the time of the Maguires, and as the Maguire Castle changes hands and names, the town of Enniskillen gradually grows with buildings, businesses, and houses, all wrapped by the Erne waterway. Rote arrives amidst drifts in the twilight of the night. Luckily, he sees some canoes coming to where he stands alongside an arm-length landing pier. Castle Island, though only a catapult away, can only be reached by boat. And so he waits to have a word with someone soon to be surely shoring by the slip he attends. Rote arrives knowing beforehand, after browsing a Lonely Planet guidebook in a bookstore, about needing to be rafted across to Castle Island. He just doesn't know if the hostel is open, let alone when a person can, if at all, be ferried over, and until what late hour, if any. From his vantage and view, he can see the hostel sprawled like a ranch, with several attached cabins dominating an otherwise uninhabited island. The island is too tiny to erect anything else, for it surely will sink in the way it just floats there, and from what he can tell, no one seems to be on the island at the moment. He sees canoes filled with rambunctious Irish teenagers heading towards where he is on the dock. He asks the first spirited canoe crew to come along. "How do I hitch a ride aboard a boat over there?" One of them, in a most delightful accent, says, "There in the distance, the only boat with an outboard. The one speeding towards us. He'll take you to the Castle Island." Sure enough, the motorized boat comes to the dock a few minutes later. An older fellow in his 40s, in respect to the timeless essence the teenagers transfer in their wild ways, steps off the boat. He pulls it proper to the pier. He proceeds to greet Rote with an affable air about him, extending his hand in hopes of a handshake, all the while assuring Rote, "How lucky you are to catch me at this hour," colorfully adding with his Irish charm that "at this time of the year and at this hour I'm usually long gone, back home, not worrying about the hostile inhabitants wanting to come and go." Rote boards and is brought to the island by the friendly manager of the hostel and chief of the area's canoe club. He mentions this and that about things and how we don't get many foreigners here well at this time of the year. Meanwhile, Rote's illuminated by the lights shining upwards from the base of the two towers, standing like sentries in front of the Maguire Castle. Though it's no longer called that and hasn't been known or shown as a Maguire Castle for a few hundred years. It's the Enniskillen Castle. For the sake of Rote's namesake and for other reasons, Rote refuses any referrals or references other than ones pertaining to the proper progenitors of the proud place, the Maguires, aka Maguires. Once on Castle Island, the superintendent shows him around. It's almost starved of standards, save for a small group of Irish students gathered from all over the Emerald Isle, there to discuss the differences constantly disturbing the Irish communities in Ireland and Northern Ireland. The Trouble's tumultuous history traces back to when the English theorized a theme to colonize the Emerald Isle. Rote learns the Welsh, Cornish, and Scottish all succumb in similar semblance to the English during the early annals of Aryan aggression. So the troubles continue in Northern Ireland. 6 counties bartered for peace, including the one he's in, Fermanagh, go to the British Empire. British Empire. Erengoprach, Erengoprach, Erengoprach. And now he's Rote. Now here's Rote, a true troubadour, on the tiny island directly across from Maguire Castle, conversing with college students about the troubles. They all have interesting input on the subject, though their perspectives are mostly dictated from what part of the island of Ireland they come from. The ones from the Republic of Ireland seem to have a much broader overview, idealistic as it were, than the students from Northern Ireland. They seem a bit more troubled by the subjects, suggesting their proximity to the troubles determines their temperament. Rote takes his temperature. They're all well read, though not always a refined bunch of banshees. All in all, a good group of students with a weakness for alcohol, collectively and respectively drunk every night of Rote's stay there. What's so off-putting is to see them fall down drunk, and in this group the women are crowned champions, dysfunctional in their demeanor, often in dementia, or who knows what, making his own past days of drunkenness disturbingly deplorable. It's like a mirror of how awful alcohol is when consumed to that point of intoxication. Rope can't afford to drink. That's his domain for distancing himself from alcohol. His aim is to spend what little money he has on touring Ireland. Meanwhile, they discuss some political issues with Rope, limited only by their level of sobriety. Most of the time, while discussing and debating the troubles, they avoid any touchy subjects like the IRA, Irish Republican Army, and Northern Ireland's Protestant paramilitary groups, the UFF, Ulster Freedom Fighters, and the UVF, Ulster Volunteer Force, both with their graffiti tagged around the town of Enniskillen. It seems that no matter how liberal the students perceive themselves and others to be, the reality of the environment pays no heed to their open minds. After all the talk, Rote finds sleep soundly in his own room for the 3 nights there at £10 per night. Again, noticing how each nation's pound note has its own prominent and preeminent historical figure in history picture. Like he's seen with the Scots, Robert the Bruce and William Wallace, the Welsh both surmise must have Owen Glendower, and the notables in Northern Ireland, who may or may not be seen as heroes. Come, of course, the Queen pictured on all Commonwealth currency. He wakes fresh after his first night fast asleep, and proud to be on Irish soil, directly across from his namesake's castle. Rote indubitably has an itinerary for the day.